everybody. We just wanted to do a quick video this week and let you know a few things that we've learned since this is our almost third month of full-time RVing. We've been on the road since July, and here we are at the end of September. And just wanted to give you a little summary, review, whatever you want to call it, of how things have gone so far. But we started off in July in Atlanta at our health coaching convention, where we were amongst a couple other 1,000 health coaches across the country that work with us, co-coach. And had a great time. We stayed at the Stone Mountain Park there and really got the feel for being able to call the RV our home, cook our dinners there, sleep there at night, go back and watch a little TV and relax, shower up, and head back to the convention the next day. So that was really one of our first experiences. And from there, we just traveled from place to place, and I can't really name them all right now, but we've been 5 or 6 different places, and just finishing up another health convention with a smaller group of our coaching partners in Dallas, Texas. And so we stayed about 30 minutes outside of Dallas at the Louisville Lake campground. It was a Corps of Engineers, and I'll have to say
Dallas traffic sucks.
Dallas traffic stinks.
Sucks.
According to Frank, the driver. But I will say I wasn't very impressed with the Corps of Engineers campground. I'm not real sure that we'll stay at another one that I can't.
The park was nice. It was nice.
Do you want my microphone?
No.
You're not going to be able to hear you.
You can hear me. Can you hear me? You can hear. We're in the same truck. The park itself was nice. I just think you don't like the lack of sewer.
Well, there wasn't any sewer. There wasn't any laundry. There's nobody that's helpful at the desk. They were helpful at the desk, but in order to change anything or get any kind of answers, they had to go through a computer system, and they even said that it was a little bit lagging and not quite updated as much as it could be to help us, the customer, as best as possible. So I just would, if I'm going to find something else in the area, it would probably make me feel better that had better pictures and reviews. Our first spot, we did move. Our first spot wasn't on the lake because, according to their website, the pictures didn't look like there were lake spots available, or that what we picked was even on the lake. But once we got there, it was just really a bunch of trees. Didn't have a good lake view, but once you went further down, there were tons of spots. And so we tried to move, and we did move. It just took several days to get it done. Anyway, I wanted to start off with the first 3 months and just a few things that I feel like we've learned with our tight space and different things that you have to do differently that you're just not used to when you're in your home. And I guess one of the first ones is water. And particularly at this last campground, since there wasn't sewer, we had to be a little bit more cautious of the water that we were utilizing. We couldn't use as much water as we wanted because we didn't have any way to dump the water unless we hooked back up the RV and went to the dumping station.
Or had a turd hauler. We don't have one. Well,
yeah,
should we get one? I don't know. Put it in the comments. How about that?
You can buy one of these little
turd
wagons. They're called, I don't really know what they're called, but we were calling them potty wagons. But you hook them up to the back of your car, and when it's full, and then you're able to go drive your car to the dump station and dump straight from the wagon to the dump. The sewer.
If people are watching about RVing, they probably know what a turd tater is.
Well, I'm guessing that a lot of our viewers don't have some RV knowledge, and therefore I'm really trying to make sure you know.
Help educate.
Help sure you know. Okay, so conserving water, just thinking about dishes. Of course, there's no dishwasher. I know that some people have dishwashers, like our friends Pat and John that stayed next to us there at the Corps of Engineer part. They had a beautiful tiffin. Mm-hmm. A beautiful tiffin. It was like very nice condo in a downtown upscale city, like was what I compared it to. But they had a dishwasher, but we don't have a dishwasher, so I'm the dishwasher. Sometimes Frank's the dishwasher.
Wash the dishes too.
I think I may wash them a little bit more than he does, but when you're cooking greasy things, like we don't cook a lot of greasy things, but we do have soup a lot, or we cook a lot of ground beef that does produce grease that we've got to drain. And so just even thinking about needing hot water for that. So, we've got to turn on the hot water pump just to get the hot water, and that takes 15 minutes to warm up. And then you need more water to clean something that's a little greasy. So we definitely have to be aware And if we're going to use some paper plates or paper bowls, we want to use it on the nights we're having soup or some sort of a beef dish that's going to produce a little bit more grease. And, we use paper plates as much as we can, but we do want to be cautious about how we're spending our money. And so we don't want to use paper plates every night for dinner, but just scraping off the plates before we even wash them is very helpful. All things we never had to do when we were at home, but that's just one of those things that I feel like maybe you don't really think about as much. But the next thing is,
hey, real quick, we've done all this to pursue a life of freedom and like abundance, and part of that is realizing, I think, how wasteful we were, when we had a real house and a refrigerator packed full of stuff, and you don't really take inventory of it, and you end up being so wasteful. And that's one thing that I really enjoy, is we've become less wasteful. There's so many people in need, and we just take for granted like how much we have. And it's really helped us realize, let's be more efficient, let's not waste stuff, and so on.
Yeah, I completely agree. We just, we buy just enough for 3 or 4 days worth of cooking, and with a plan in mind. Not necessarily we're having this on Monday and this on Tuesday, but just the next 4 nights we're going to have these 4 options, and each day we can pick what we want. And then nothing goes to waste. I mean, we haven't thrown away any bread that's gone bad. We haven't thrown away any fruit that's gone bad. We don't eat a lot of fruit anyway because it is so high in sugar, but we do get some fruit, and fruit can go bad fast. And so, you don't want to buy up way too much of it. Plus, the other thing that we have to be aware of is our small refrigerator. Once again, other RVs have what they call full-size house-like refrigerators. Well, we don't. We have a smaller one, and that's perfectly fine, and it's done the trick. It's actually helped us. We were talking about it the other night. It's helped us keep a track of what we have in the refrigerator. Nothing gets lost. And I think that, we had 2 refrigerators at home. And why do we need 2 refrigerators? Well, in the past we had 2 refrigerators.
We still drank, and it was primarily just full of alcohol.
Correct. So one was just the outside refrigerator that had all the alcohol or any big items we bought at Costco or whatever that we didn't want to have in the inside refrigerator. But inside, we had it jam-packed with all kinds of stuff, and it'd be so pushed back in the back that you wouldn't find it, and then it would go bad. And we know a lot of other people that have this problem, and we're actually trying to help them solve that problem. But it's easier to have a smaller refrigerator and not overbuy and waste. And so that's one of the learning curves we've had so far. I'd say another learning curve for sure has been along the same lines, has been with laundry and just being wasteful with when you wear something and if it's dirty or not, and if you just toss it into the dirty clothes basket. You hear so many people that are stressed out at home because they're having to do laundry all the time, and I have to do laundry every day, and oh, my kids have so much laundry. Well, I'm not saying don't wash your clothes if they stink or you've spilt a stain on them, but we've really found that, every morning we like to walk and exercise, and sometimes I'll put on that same shirt that I wore the day before if I haven't completely done a 400 calorie burn workout and gotten the shirt wet. I'll wear the shirt again because I'm just going to sweat again. So I might wear it 2 or 3 days before I do toss it in the laundry basket, because we can only go and do laundry once a week sometimes. Even at this last campground, there was no laundry. So we had our first experience of going to the actual laundromat, and we took our laundry into Frisco when we went into a whole different city. We went to the PGA headquarters, and we had the intention of starting up our laundry and going back and finishing it up, but that wasn't realistic. So we did have to sit there for about an hour and a half while we did the laundry. And so,
not my favorite experience in the world.
Yeah, it wasn't bad at all, but having
it was nice and clean, whatever, but I don't want to. It just seemed like a waste of an hour and a half or 2 hours out of our day.
And so I don't want to have to pile up baskets full of laundry and spend even more time there. Definitely picking a campground that has a laundromat is going to be something that I'm looking at, unless we're staying at a Harvest Host or something like that, of course. But we've just really realized that we don't just toss something into the dirty clothes basket after we've been wearing it all day and we haven't gone anywhere, and we've stayed at the RV. So that's my little learning curve there.
One thing I want to add real quick, because we just passed another rig as a travel trailer. Y'all do your research and be knowledgeable somewhat to what is the proper truck to carry the proper load. This truck was just carrying this travel trailer, and it looked like this. Like the back end of the truck was down, the front end of the travel trailer was like this, and he had four spare tires stacked up on the nose of the hitch area, and it was adding all this tongue weight.
Man.
And it's just stupid. Like, golly.
Okay, so that leads me to one of the next things I was actually going to talk about, was all the different system checks that we put in place. Before we even leave the rig, when we're in a city and we're going to leave, we're in a park and then we're going to leave for the day, we always turn our water off. And while we do that, we don't want to come back and have a busted pipe.
We don't want a swimming pool. We can hopefully have one of those at the park. We don't want it inside the rig.
So we turn our water off. We're constantly checking our tire pressure. We have this that checks that's checking the tire pressure on the rig, and of course the truck has it where it checks it. I don't think I can flip this around.
You don't have to.
Yeah,
most trucks have.
Most trucks have all that, but we do that, and I kind of wanted to relate that to our health program a little bit. I tell our clients all the time that we have 4 components of our program, and if you're not using all 4 components like the program is set for you to do, you're not going to get to your healthy goal as quickly as possible. And if it's, I refer to it as like a car with 4 tires, which most cars have 4 tires. If one of the tires is flat, you can't keep going. You have to stop and fix the tire, or else you're never going to get to your destination. And so I tell my clients all the time, our 4 components are us as the coach, the food that we eat, our community, and our education. And so if one of the clients is saying, oh, I don't want to answer your phone call when you call me, so they're not utilizing us as the coach, and I'll leave in my message, hey, as the coach, we're one of your components, so you really need to talk to us even just for a little while. And so, I always refer to that it's just like a car with 4 tires. You've got to use all 4 components. But system checks is one of those things that we've definitely put in place, that we want to make sure we're always got pressure, air pressure in the tires, that we've got fuel in the car.
Fuel's good.
Frank's got his DEF, since he has to have that.
Every time I stop, I like to do a walk around, check the tires, make sure everything's like, even today when we left Dallas, the stupid little rubber trim thing that comes up on the back here, like where over the kingpin, like this trim piece, like just starts flapping around in the wind, like blowing around. So I had to rip it off, and I'll have to figure out how to fix it later. But just being aware, I'm always checking my tire pressure. I'm always doing those things that she was talking about, because we want to be safe out here. There are, a lot of morons on the road, and you just got to stay cautious.
Yeah. I'm really surprised it is, I have to help, because people come onto the interstate and they don't even pay any attention that we're coming with a vehicle that's towing something, and we can't stop. And if they come in and try to scoot in, it's not like we can just slam on our brakes. So it is, if you're watching this and you're not familiar with pulling an RV, and you are ever on the road with someone pulling an RV, realize now that the Lewises are out on the road pulling an RV, and for the Lewises say, you're going to slow down when you see an RV, and you're not going to cut them off.
Or just speed up. If you're merging onto a highway, make up your mind, like, I'm entering a highway here. I'm either going to slow down or speed up. Don't just go the same speed as what you're merging onto.
Right. It is the interstate. Okay, so a couple more things. Back to the parks. Another thing, when we picked parks that we want to stay at, we're looking for a sense of community. That's why we're doing this whole thing. While we're wanting to travel, and we're going to go see people that we know, but we're also going to stay at parks where there are people we don't know. And so when we pick a park from now on, we're going to be looking for a pool. We're going to be looking for a workout room. Some of them have little stores or restaurants, even marinas that are attached to them. Sometimes they even have a schedule on their website of events they have, and we're going to be looking for that kind of stuff, because that is one more thing I'll say about the last park we stayed at. Every weekend, we were there 2 weekends, and it was just packed with local people that lived in the Dallas area, and it was like they met their friends, and they all had 5 or 6 spots together, but they'd do a big bonfire, and they could have been welcoming if we wanted to try to meet them. I'm not saying that, but it wasn't your traditional RVers that were on the road traveling places like we are. And that's what we found at the other parks we've stopped at, because there was a pool when we were in Gulf Shores, and at the park in between that, when we were in Vicksburg, there were lots of different games you could go play, and we did find a family that we played cornhole with, and we built a campfire with, and there was a neat little store that we could go in and talk to the person that worked the store and just kind of get to know them. And so that is one thing we're looking for, is a sense of community.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's like one of the favorite parts of our coaching is our community. That's what we found that we really enjoy, it's our new circle of friends, and that's what we're doing. Like, I love my old friends, but I don't want to be stuck in that same circle. Like, we wanted to get out, branch out, get out of the hamster wheel of life, basically. And, there's so many amazing people in this world, in this country, and we just want to get out, meet people, have that sense of community. And yeah, so we're looking for that, not only for us, but for our daughter, Jennings, that, is going to be with us. So, like, we want her to feel a part of that community too, with people her age.
So that leads me to my last question and my last point. I do have a bonus point, but we want some feedback. We are trying to figure out where to book for winter. So we are really leaning towards a park in Arizona. It's in Yuma, Arizona, to be exact. And we have found some other families that are going to be there, which is really what we're looking for. And we haven't booked it yet, but that is what we're leaning towards. So if you have a place that's either Central Florida or out west a little bit in Arizona, we want warm. We'd like a pool,
and
like
don't say, look,
and a laundry room.
Nothing against Thousand Trails, but we ain't doing Thousand Trails.
And don't mention Thousand Trails. We're not interested. We need to do some more research. From a lot of the people we've talked to, we are leaning towards not ever becoming members of Thousand Trails. And if you don't know what that is, you can search it. But okay, so
I'm not knocking it. I'm not saying we're not open to it either. Like, but
not right now. Just not doing it. But put it in the comments if you know of a good spot where we could go spend the winter. And when we spend winter, we mean probably the end of October through January. And one reason why, maybe even February, one reason why we picked Yuma, Arizona is because it is really close to Phoenix, and we could get a good flight from Phoenix back to Memphis to be able to spend the holidays. But okay, the last thing I was going to say, if you've noticed my raspy voice, no, I did not start smoking. That is not a habit of health. Are you laughing?
No, it's called.
I did not start smoking. It's okay if you smoke, but it's not a healthy choice. And if you need help stopping,
if you smoke, quit.
If you need help stopping, let us know. We can help you habit stack.
And if you're mad at me for saying that, I'm sorry. I'm not going to apologize.
That's okay.
Not sorry.
But we have spent the last 3 days with our community at our smaller health convention, and boy, did we have fun. And
smaller
last night,
by like 1,000 people.
Yeah, smaller because it was 1,000 people. The one in Atlanta was, closer to 2,000, maybe a little bit over, but this was like 800 to 1,000. We never really got an accurate count, but this is just our organization of people that we spend an hour a day with most of the time. Not all of them, but those that choose to get into some of our calls and trainings that we have. But hey, that wasn't very nice.
No, I'm sorry. Well,
You're not.
Just get to the point.
You tell the rest of the story.
I don't know what you're trying to say.
Well, then stop trying to cut me off.
All right. Sorry.
All right. So, back to the reason why I have a raspy voice, and it's not because I started smoking. We've spent the last 3 days really filling our cup and filling others' cups, and so therefore it was a lot of talking. Last night it was a lot of dancing. which means singing and loud music. We always end our conferences with a dance party. You know, other conferences are boring. You sit there, you listen to people, usually fall asleep. This conference and all the ones that we do, we always have a dance party. And last night there was a DJ and we had a denim and diamonds theme, and it was a lot of fun. We didn't stay as long as everybody else because we did have to leave and get back to the campground, and we barely made it because the campground gates close at 10. Anyway, we did get our fair share of fun, but you know, we did a lot of talking and cheering when people would talk. People were on the stage pouring their hearts out with stories and how they're blessed by our program, how their life has changed by our program. We were honored and we got to speak on stage, and we got to talk about working together as a couple. And in true Lewis fashion, we made it fun. Go check out, if you're not our Facebook friend or you don't follow us, go to Facebook and check us out and send us a request or follow us at least. But we already did something fun the night before. We decided we'd wear these airbrushed t-shirts that we had made down in Gulf Shores, Alabama, like 20 years ago. When we were packing up stuff and getting rid of stuff, we decided to keep those shirts, and I think it was just on our heart to wear them that night when we came across them. But we wore them, and then we have an extra story. Our friends, Beth and Kelly, there's something else.
Check out my hat. So yeah, my friend Beth and I and Kelly, it started me and Beth, but we're obsessed with the farm hats. And plug to the farm, these hats, you know, mine says Mighty, and it's got the lion on it.
Here's mine.
I've got one that says goat, and obviously it has a goat.
There's mine. Mine's tough. And I've got a bulldog, which is pretty fitting for, you know, Mississippi State. We're Mississippi State fans.
But we love, like I keep bringing up community. We love this community because these two girls didn't have to do this, but they were like, hey, on our lunch break, we're going to kidnap y'all, and we're taking you somewhere, and it's a surprise. And I kind of had an idea, obviously, what's going on, but
I didn't think about what it was going to be at first. I was just hoping that the car ride was going to be a limo.
For them to think enough of us, and that's really what our whole community is about, is like selflessness, and you know, taking that focus off of me and more about we. And that's exactly what they did. They thought enough about us to like want to kidnap us and take us and treat us to 2 new hats.
And it was a lot of fun. And you know, I woke up this morning thinking about it because they have, you know, they spent their own money on us getting some hats, and that was really nice and generous, and they thought of us enough to do that. And so they loved it. They said, you know, we love spending extra time with y'all. We spent a lot of time with them on our cruise that we went on back in April, and when we get up north, we're hoping to see them because they do both live up there. But yeah, so our convention is different than any other convention I've ever been to with other jobs that I've had. You know, I've been to real estate conventions when I was in real estate. I've been to nursing home conventions when I was working in the nursing home. And like I said, we were talking with other people about this. Other conventions, you sit there and you know, you do get a lot of information. Every company that offers conventions, they're great. You know, you get so much information. You fill up a notebook, which is what I did, but you fill up a notebook of information, and then it all depends on when you get back home to your space after convention, what you do with those notes and how you put that into action. And so for us, it wasn't sitting and being boring. We, you know, the speakers had 7 minutes to speak and some had 14. And then the leader that put the convention together, she would have longer times at certain points because we went through some personality and DISC training to talk about people's personalities so that we can better coach people and know what kind of personalities the person might be, and we would know certain things to say to help them if they're struggling, or say to help them if they're doubting themselves, or just whatever. And so her trainings would be a little bit longer sometimes, but for the most part it was either 7 minutes or 14 minutes, and it was like bam, 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 and nobody ever had an opportunity to yawn or fall asleep. And so then we did little dance breaks in between people talking, which is hysterical. And last night they made all the guys, they didn't make, but when it was one of our dance breaks during the award ceremony that we had, they said this time we want all the guys getting on stage.
It was ridiculous. because
you were the best one out there.
well, whatever. It was a denim and diamonds theme, which what is that supposed to be? It should have been country, like. But we were freaking dancing to Whitney Houston. How many
Bunch of guys. It was probably about 30 guys.
30 guys up on the stage with cowboy boots and hats on, dancing to Whitney Houston.
Well, Frank unbuttons his shirt in old Frank fashion, and of course all of his little followers are like, "Woo, Frank!" and getting pictures of him. And anyway, it was hysterical.
Hey, but look, I'm happy that at my ripe old age, I've taken my health seriously and I've taken it to the next level, and I'm comfortable. I can take my shirt off and be proud. There's nothing wrong with being proud of your body. The Bible says that our bodies are a temple and we should treat them that way.
That's right. But, back to one last quick thing about our convention. Sharing on stage was awesome. Just the people that came up to us afterwards, just countless. We were on the elevator later that night with somebody we didn't know. I didn't even really know they were with our group.
Great.
And they said, y'all did great today talking. And so just hearing that really reminded me that thank you. Yes, we did good. We put a lot of preparation into it. But, I asked everybody to write something down that they were willing to go back home and change, because you can't grow unless you change. And if you start changing things and changing habits and habit stacking, you're going to get where you want to be. And I had people come up to me afterwards and say, hey, I wrote down what I'm going to change when I get home. And I gave them a high five, and I don't know who they were, and I don't know where they live, and I don't think they were on my team, so I didn't recognize them. But, I think that's great. That means my point made it across to somebody. And so...
Well, and that's what we've done. We've embraced change in our life. We started making little changes. It started with our personal health, and it's led to this freedom that we've now had. We don't waste our time chasing the dollar or going to a 9-to-5 job or staying stuck. That's not what's important to us. And us getting on stage and speaking, were we 100% comfortable with that? Maybe she was a little bit more than I was, but who cares? Get out of your own way. Get uncomfortable to grow. You have to be willing to change to grow. And
there were so many things we could have said, and there were so many things we wanted to say, but we didn't. We didn't have slides or anything like that. We just kind of we were told to wing it, so that's what we did. But anyway, it was fun. We got a lot of good pictures. If you're friends with us on Facebook or you follow us, you'll see them in the next coming days. I know
I'll link our Facebook profiles up here.
We've already posted several, but just even having one of our main mentors tell us before we even spoke, really, in a convention, just at the beginning of the convention, she said, y'all don't know how much you mean to our community. Y'all are so fun and giving of your time. We do a lot of trainings on Zoom and just like to share what we've learned and how we've done things, and people were telling us that, including her, and so that was very special to me. And she even came up to us the night before we spoke, and she said, can I pray over y'all? I want to say a quick little prayer so that y'all do a good job tomorrow speaking. And she said, I want the Holy Spirit to be with you. And it was a beautiful prayer. And then Frank said, well,
I think
you're speaking too, so I
think we should end it with this, because we don't want to go much longer. But here's what I said, and I think this is fitting for what we're doing now with our life, is God put us where we need to be, when we need to be there, and how we need to show up to serve your purpose and plan and not our own. And that's really what it's all about. And
so mic drop.
We'll have a next video next week.
Yeah, we'll do another video next week. That's why we've done it this way, because we were busy with our community. So we hope y'all enjoy, and we'll see you next week. We'll be up in Michigan.
Stay safe.